Three dots means they don't get the smile or refills. Malcolm freezes mid-bite. The words cut through the diner noise like a blade. Two cashiers whisper behind the counter, 15 feet from their disguised boss. One dot gets premium service. The cashier points to a hidden chart. Three dots get nothing. The catfish special, his father's recipe, turns tasteless in Malcolm's mouth. It's working, the second cashier nods. Fletcher says we're optimizing for customers who matter. Malcolm's hand tightens around his fork. The diner, built on everyone eats with dignity, now ranks humans by worth. His father's legacy, his company, his responsibility. He sets down his fork. Decision made. Malcolm Reynolds stares out the window of his corner office, the downtown skyline a reminder of how far Soul Food Diners has come. 25 years ago, his father started with a single food truck and a handwritten sign. Everyone eats with dignity. Now 30 locations across 3 states serve their famous soul food recipes to thousands daily. He turns to the wall of memories, photos of his father beside that first truck, newspaper clippings about the diner that feeds all neighborhoods equally, the worn recipe book with sauce stains on every page. Malcolm runs his fingers over the original "Everyone Eats with Dignity" sign, now framed in his office. "Your father would be proud," says Gloria, his executive assistant and one of the company's first employees. "From food truck to regional chain while keeping our values." "Are we, though?" Malcolm questions, gesturing to the reports on his desk. "Customer satisfaction is down 22% in 6 months. Social media complaints have tripled." Gloria shifts uncomfortably. "Ever since the new executive team took over operations..." The intercom buzzes. "Board meeting in 5 minutes, sir." The quarterly board meeting proceeds like clockwork. Charts showing revenue growth, expansion plans, cost-cutting initiatives, and customer experience metrics. Malcolm interrupts Fletcher Davidson, the COO hired 8 months ago to modernize operations. "Ah," Fletcher adjusts his tie. "We're transitioning to a more strategic approach to customer service. Some metrics may fluctuate temporarily." Malcolm frowns. "These aren't fluctuations. These are nosedives." "With respect, Malcolm," Fletcher smiles thinly, "the food truck days are over. Modern restaurant management requires customer segmentation. We're simply aligning service levels with customer value." Several board members nod approvingly. Malcolm notices Gloria's concerned expression. Later, Malcolm scrolls through social media comments about soul food diners. "Used to love this place. Now they act like they're doing me a favor serving me." Noticed how they seat people differently depending on how they're dressed? 30 minutes for a water refill while the business suits got constant attention. His phone rings. It's James Thompson, a regular customer since Malcolm's father ran the original location. "Malcolm, I've been coming to your diner for 15 years. Something's changed. Last week I brought my family in after church. They seated us by the kitchen door, barely checked on us, and I watched people who came in after us get completely different treatment." "James, I'm so sorry. Your father used to say everyone deserves the same dignity, whether they're wearing work boots or wingtips. I don't think that's true at Soul Food anymore." Malcolm sets down his phone, a knot forming in his stomach. His father's legacy is slipping away under his watch. Gloria knocks and enters Malcolm's office carrying a tablet. "You need to see this." She plays a security video from their flagship location. A family in casual clothes waits at the host stand. The host makes a small mark on their seating chart, then leads them to a table near the restrooms. 20 minutes pass in fast forward before a server takes their order. Their water glasses remain empty. The video switches angles. A couple in business attire enters. The same host makes a different mark on the chart and seats them in the center section. A server appears immediately with complimentary cornbread. Their waters never reach half empty. "This isn't an isolated incident," Gloria says, swiping through more footage. "I've been watching since the complaint started. There's a pattern." Malcolm leans back, disbelief turning to anger. "This isn't just poor service. It's systematic discrimination." "How long?" "Started about 6 months ago. After Fletcher's operational efficiency training, Malcolm stands, decision made. Get me everything you can on this. And Gloria, keep this between us for now. The security footage plays on Malcolm's office screen. Sunday brunch at their busiest location. James Thompson, in his church suit, arrives with his family wife, 2 teenagers, elderly mother. They stand at the host station. The host glances at their attire, then makes 3 small dots on her seating chart. She leads them past several empty tables in the main dining area to a cramped corner near the kitchen doors. Malcolm leans forward, watching as the family settles in. The kitchen doors swing open repeatedly, servers brushing past their table. James's mother flinches each time. 20 minutes pass before a server approaches. No welcome, no cornbread, just a curt, ready to order. Their water glasses remain unfilled throughout the meal despite repeated requests. Meanwhile, a couple in designer clothes enters. The host marks a single dot on the chart and seats them at a prime table. A server appears instantly with water, cornbread, and a warm smile. When James asks for a manager, there's a 15-minute wait. Then a dismissive conversation. The manager's body language screams indifference. Malcolm stops the video, his jaw tight. I need to speak with James directly. They treated us like we were invisible, James says, sitting across from Malcolm in a quiet coffee shop away from any soul food location. My mother's 82. Every time those kitchen doors slammed open, she jumped. I asked if we could move twice. They said all other tables were reserved. But they weren't, Malcolm says. No, I watched people walk in after us and get seated immediately at better tables. The difference was obvious. James leans forward. Malcolm, I've known you since you were helping your dad on that food truck. This isn't about one bad experience. Something's changed systematically. When did you first notice this? About 6 months ago. At first, I thought maybe it was just busy days, new staff. But it's consistent now. And it's not just me. James pulls out his phone. There's a whole thread in our neighborhood group. People sharing similar experiences. Malcolm scrolls through dozens of comments, all from longtime customers, all describing the same pattern of treatment. Your father served everyone the same, from construction workers to city council members. That's why people loved soul food. That's why I kept coming back for 15 years. James's eyes hold Malcolm's. Until now. This is absurd, Fletcher says, pacing Malcolm's office. You're taking anecdotal complaints and social media drama as evidence? This is business, not a charity. I've seen the footage, Fletcher. I've talked to customers personally. This isn't anecdotal. What you're seeing is strategic customer service allocation. Resources are finite. We prioritize high-value customers. High value? Malcolm's voice drops dangerously. What exactly does that mean? Fletcher straightens. Frequent diners, big tippers, business clientele who bring groups. It's standard industry practice to segment customers, not at soul food. Never at soul food. Your father's approach was admirable but outdated. We're a chain now, not a food truck. The board hired me to modernize operations, and the numbers don't lie. Revenue is up 15% since implementation. And customer satisfaction? Among priority customers, it's up 30%. And everyone else? Fletcher shrugs. They're not our growth demographic. Malcolm stares at the man, wondering how someone so fundamentally misaligned with soul food's values reached this position. I want to see this customer classification system. Now. Malcolm, with all due respect, this is operational territory. The board gave me full authority. I'm still CEO. The system. Now. Fletcher hesitates, then slides a tablet across the desk. It's a standard value optimization protocol. Nothing unusual. Malcolm opens the file. A seating chart with a color-coded dot system. Service guidelines based on customer value indicators. Dress, speech patterns, estimated income levels. He looks up, meeting Fletcher's unapologetic gaze. This ends today. The board won't agree. They've seen the revenue numbers. We'll see about that. Malcolm paces his apartment that evening, phone pressed to his ear. Gloria, the board meeting was a disaster. Half of them sided with Fletcher, said his customer optimization is just smart business. What did you expect? Fletcher's been cultivating them for months. Those revenue numbers look good on paper. Revenue built on betraying everything my father stood for. Malcolm stops at the wall of family photos, his father's smile beside that first food truck. I need irrefutable evidence of what's happening. Not just complaints, not just a few videos. What are you thinking? I need to see it from the customer side. Experience it myself. Malcolm's reflection stares back from the window. I need to go undercover. The staff knows what you look like, Malcolm. Not all of them. We've expanded so fast, there are plenty who've never met me in person. His mind races. But I'll need help to pull this off. The next morning, Malcolm meets with Darius Jackson, his oldest friend and head of security, in a coffee shop far from any soul food location. You want to go undercover in your own restaurants? Darius raises an eyebrow. That's some undercover boss level stuff. I need to see it firsthand, Darius. The board won't act without overwhelming evidence. Darius leans forward. You know Fletcher has allies throughout the company, if word gets out. That's why I need your help. I trust you, and I need someone who knows security protocols. Darius studies his friend's face. You really believe it's that bad? I know it is. My father built soul food on the principle that everyone deserves the same dignity. Now we're literally marking people with dots based on how valuable they seem. Malcolm's voice tightens. I can't let that stand. All right. Darius nods. What's the plan? 3 days later, Malcolm stands before his bathroom mirror, hardly recognizing himself. Gone are the tailored suits and signature bald head. Instead, he wears jeans, work boots, and a faded t-shirt. A baseball cap covers the short wig Darius sourced from a theater friend. Glasses with non-prescription lenses complete the transformation. He practices adjusting his posture, slumping slightly. Alters his speech pattern, roughening the edges of his normally precise diction. Malcolm removes the gold watch, his father's, that he's worn every day since taking over the company. The tan line stands out starkly against his skin. He places it carefully in his dresser drawer. His phone buzzes with a text from Darius. Ready when you are. Remember, we start with the outlying locations where you're least likely to be recognized. Malcolm takes one last look in the mirror. I'm coming, Dad, he whispers. I'll fix this. The preparation is meticulous. Malcolm and Darius develop a schedule targeting locations based on complaint patterns. They create a backstory. Malcolm becomes Marcus Allen, a construction worker new to the area. Darius will pose as a regular customer at some locations, a potential business client at others. We need to document everything, Malcolm says, reviewing their plan. Photos, videos, receipts, anything that shows differential treatment. I've set up a secure cloud account, Darius responds. Everything uploads automatically, time-stamped and geotagged. Malcolm studies the map of soul food locations. We'll hit the suburban locations first, then work our way to the downtown flagships, save my father's original location for last. What exactly are we looking for? The seating patterns, service timing, menu availability. According to Fletcher's system, 3-dot customers might be told certain items are unavailable or face longer wait times. Malcolm's jaw tightens. We need to establish that this isn't just poor service, it's systematic discrimination based on perceived status. Darius nods. And if we confirm it's happening, then I take everything to the board. Force them to see what's being done in the name of profit. Malcolm tucks his father's worn recipe book into his backpack. And if they won't act, I'm prepared to go public. The night before his first undercover visit, Malcolm sits alone in his apartment, staring at a photograph of his father. Samuel Reynolds stands proudly before his food truck, arm around a young Malcolm. I let this happen, Dad, he whispers. I got so caught up in expansion, in board meetings and balance sheets, that I lost sight of what matters. He traces the words on the sign visible in the photo. Everyone eats with dignity. I built this company on my father's principle that food brings dignity, Malcolm says to the empty room. If we've lost that, I need to see it with my own eyes, not from reports and not from behind a desk. He sets the photo down, determination hardening into resolve. Tomorrow, he becomes a customer in his own restaurant, and he'll either reclaim his father's legacy or watch it fall apart. Malcolm now. Marcus pushes open the door to Soul Food Diner number 17, a suburban location 20 miles from headquarters. His work boots scuff against the tile floor. The hostess gives him a quick once-over, her smile flickering. "Just one today?" she asks, already reaching for a menu. "Yes, ma'am." She makes a small mark on her seating chart, 3 dots, and leads him past several empty tables in the center of the restaurant. They stop at a small table near the restrooms. "Your server will be with you shortly," she says, already turning away. Malcolm waits. And waits. 15 minutes pass before a harried server approaches. "What can I get you?" No introduction, no specials, no cornbread. No, "The lunch special, please." "And sweet tea." "We're out of sweet tea." Malcolm glances at a nearby table where a businessman sips from a glass of amber liquid. "Looks like that gentleman has some." The server hesitates. "I'll check again." His meal arrives 20 minutes later. The portion is noticeably smaller than those at surrounding tables. His water glass remains empty despite repeated attempts to catch his server's attention. When the check comes, Malcolm asks, "Is Mr. Reynolds in today?" The server stiffens. "The owner?" "No, he doesn't come to this location. My cousin used to work for him. Said he was a good boss." "Yeah, well, things change." She glances around and lowers her voice. "Corporate's running things differently now." At location number 23, Malcolm sits at the counter, watching the rhythm of service. A family in worn clothes enters. 3 dots on the chart. They wait 10 minutes for menus. A couple in business attire follows. 1 dot. Immediate service, complimentary cornbread, constant attention. He notices different colored trays, blue for premium customers, brown for others. Different scripts from the servers. Warm and chatty for 1 dots. Efficient and minimal for 3 dots. "First time here?" asks the man on the next stool, dressed in what Malcolm recognizes as an expensive but deliberately casual outfit. "Yeah, food's good, but service is interesting." The man leans closer. "Tip. Wear a Rolex next time, even a fake one. Better table, better service." He winks. "Learned that after my 3rd visit." Malcolm's stomach tightens. The discrimination isn't just happening, customers are actively adapting to it. By his 4th location, Malcolm has developed a pattern. Arrive looking 3-dot worthy, document the treatment, then return the next day in business attire to experience the difference. The results are consistent and undeniable. At location number 8, he befriends a server named Tamika during a slow afternoon. "Been working here long?" he asks. 3 years. She glances around before continuing. "Used to love it. Not so much lately." "Why's that?" "New management, new system." She nearly spits the word. "They call it customer value optimization, but it's just treating people differently based on how they look." "And everyone follows this system?" "Have to. They mystery shop us. If you don't follow the protocols, you get written up. 3 strikes, and you're fired." She straightens as a manager approaches. "Can I get you anything else, sir?" Location number 3 hosts a staff meeting before opening. Malcolm, having secured a trial shift as a dishwasher through a temp agency, listens from the kitchen. "Remember your customer classifications," the manager says, pointing to a laminated chart. 1 dots get the premium experience immediate service, complimentary items, check-ins every 5 minutes. 2 dots get standard service. 3 dots get basic service only. No extras, no rush. A new server raises her hand. "How do we determine the dots?" "Appearance, primarily. Dress, accessories, speech patterns, estimated spending potential." The manager taps the chart. Examples are here. Study them. This system has increased our revenue by 22% in high adoption locations. Another server speaks up. But I thought soul food was about treating everyone the same. The sign says, everyone eats with dignity. The manager's smile tightens. That was the old soul food. We're modernizing. Corporate calls it meeting customers where they are. Malcolm's hands clench around the dish he's drying. The perversion of his father's philosophy couldn't be clearer. By the 6th day, Malcolm has gathered extensive evidence from 12 locations. Now it's time for the flagship diner, his father's original location, converted from that first food truck into a full restaurant. He enters during the lunch rush, dressed in his most convincing three-dot outfit. The hostess barely looks at him before marking her chart and seating him in a back corner. He orders the lunch special, his father's famous catfish recipe, and waits. 2 cashiers work the front counter, close enough that their conversation drifts to his table. Table 4? Yeah, give them the usual service, the taller one says, pointing discreetly. You know the code 3 dots means they don't get the smile or the refills. Malcolm freezes mid-bite. Fletcher says it's about optimizing resources for premium customers, the second cashier continues, flipping a laminated sheet partially hidden beneath the counter. 1 dot gets full service, 2 dots get refills but minimal chat, 3 dots get bare minimum. Some of the old-timers are pushing back, the first cashier says. Tamika at number 8 got written up for giving a 3-dot table the premium treatment. She better watch it. Fletcher's serious about this system. Says it's the future of the company. Doesn't feel right, though. Not in Mr. Reynolds' place. The cashier glances at a faded photograph on the wall. Malcolm's father standing proudly before his food truck. He used to serve everyone the same, from construction workers to the mayor. Well, Mr. Reynolds isn't running things anymore, is he? His son's probably sitting in some corner office, counting money while Fletcher runs the show. The words hit Malcolm like a physical blow. Is that what his employees think of him? That he's abandoned his father's principles for profit? He sets down his fork, appetite gone. The transformation of soul food is worse than he imagined. It's not just a service issue, it's a complete betrayal of everything the company was built upon. And it stops now. Malcolm returns to Darius's apartment that evening, still shaken by what he heard at the flagship location. We need to finish this tomorrow, he says, reviewing their evidence. I've seen enough. We still have 5 locations to check, Darius points out. I don't need more. The pattern is consistent across all locations. What I need now is the smoking gun proof that this comes from top management, not just individual locations implementing their own systems. Darius nods. You think it's at headquarters? I think Fletcher has documented everything. He's too methodical not to have created training materials, guidelines. Malcolm paces the room. The cashiers mentioned Tamika at location number 8 being written up for not following the system. That means official disciplinary documentation. So what's the plan? Malcolm checks his watch, a cheap digital replacement for his father's gold timepiece. Tomorrow I visit HR as a potential investor interested in company culture and training protocols. You create a distraction. I'll find what we need. Undercover day, night. Escalating discovery chain. 1,261,260 words. The Soul Food Diner's corporate headquarters occupies 3 floors of a downtown office building. Malcolm, now dressed in a mid-range suit professional but not premium, adjusts his glasses and approaches the reception desk. Marcus Allen, he says, offering the business card Darius created. I have an appointment with Valerie in HR, potential investment opportunity. The receptionist makes a call, then directs him to the 2nd floor. Right on schedule, Darius calls the reception desk, claiming to be a health inspector needing immediate assistance on the 3rd floor. The receptionist rushes to find the facilities manager. Malcolm slips into an empty conference room where Valerie has left materials about Soul Food's company culture for him to review. The moment she's called away to handle Darius's distraction, Malcolm begins searching through the digital training portal left open on the tablet. He finds it almost immediately. Customer Value Optimization Protocol. He photographs the cover page, then begins scrolling rapidly through the document, capturing everything. The language is clinical but unmistakable. Customer classification ensures optimal resource allocation. Utilize the DOT system to categorize patrons upon arrival. 1 dot, premium service level. Business attire, luxury accessories, refined speech patterns. 2 dots, standard service level. Business casual, middle income indicators. 3 dots, basic service level. Casual/work attire, economy indicators. Malcolm's jaw tightens as he continues photographing. Seating charts with designated areas for each customer class. Scripts for different service levels. Even a disciplinary schedule for staff who fail to maintain appropriate service boundaries. Then he finds the email chain that started it all. Fletcher to the operations team, dated 6 months ago. The attached customer value optimization protocol will be implemented effective immediately. Research indicates that high-value customers increase spending by 35% when receiving premium service, while economy customers' spending remains constant, regardless of service level. This reallocation of resources will significantly impact our bottom line. All staff must be trained by end of month. Resistance to implementation should be documented and forwarded to HR for appropriate action. The old everyone equal approach is obsolete in modern restaurant management. Malcolm photographs every page, every email. Then he discovers the personnel file's written warnings for staff who failed to maintain customer classification standards. Tamika's file includes 3 warnings, the most recent just 2 days ago. As he's photographing these, his phone buzzes with Darius's warning. Wrap it up. Distraction ending. Malcolm quickly exits the files and moves back to the conference room materials just as Valerie returns. "Sorry about that," she says. "Facility issue upstairs. Did you have a chance to review our culture materials?" "Very enlightening," Malcolm replies, fighting to keep his voice neutral. "One question: I noticed your recent revenue growth. What operational changes contributed to that?" Valerie beams. "Our COO implemented a revolutionary customer service approach that optimizes resource allocation. It's been remarkably effective at our highest performing locations." "Fascinating. Is there documentation on this approach I could review?" "That would require approval from Mr. Davidson himself. It's proprietary methodology." "Of course. Perhaps I could schedule a meeting with him?" "I'd be happy to check his availability for next week." Malcolm smiles. "Perfect. Please tell him Marcus Allen was very impressed with what he saw today." Back at Darius's apartment, they review the evidence. "This is worse than I imagined," Malcolm says, scrolling through the photos. "It's explicit discrimination packaged as optimization, and the disciplinary actions against staff who resist. You've got more than enough to take to the board," Darius says. "The board has seen the revenue numbers. Some of them might actually support this." Malcolm stops at a photo of the seating chart with its coded DOT system. "No, I need to confront Fletcher directly, force him to defend this in person. And if he doesn't back down?" Malcolm's expression hardens. "Then I take everything public. My father built soul food on dignity for all. I'll burn it to the ground before I let it become this." "What about the staff being disciplined?" Tamika's on her 3rd warning. "I need to move quickly. Tomorrow, I return to being Malcolm Reynolds." He picks up his father's gold watch from the side table, slipping it back onto his wrist. "And I remind everyone what soul food really stands for." The executive conference room buzzes with pre-meeting chatter. Fletcher stands at the head of the table, reviewing presentation slides with several board members. Others check emails or chat quietly. Malcolm enters silently, still dressed in his Marcus disguise minus the cap. He takes a seat at the far end of the table, unnoticed in the bustle. Gloria spots him first, eyes widening slightly before she composes herself. She gives him a nearly imperceptible nod. "Shall we begin?" Fletcher calls the meeting to order. First agenda item, quarterly performance review. I'm pleased to report that revenue is up 18% system-wide, with a 27% increase at our highest performing locations. Board members murmur approvingly. Fletcher advances to the next slide. Customer value optimization has exceeded projections. Premium customer satisfaction. And what about everyone else? Malcolm interrupts. All heads turn toward him. Confusion crosses several faces. Fletcher squints. I'm sorry, I don't believe we've been introduced. This is a closed executive meeting. Malcolm stands slowly, removing his glasses. We've met, Fletcher. The room falls silent as recognition dawns. Fletcher's confident smile falters. Malcolm? What is this? A reckoning. Malcolm walks to the front of the room, every eye following him. For the past week, I've been visiting our restaurants. Not as the CEO, but as a regular customer. Or should I say, a 3-dot customer. He turns to the board. While you've been celebrating revenue growth, I've been experiencing what's really happening in our restaurants. The customer value optimization you've approved isn't optimization at all. It's discrimination, pure and simple. Fletcher steps forward. Malcolm, this is highly irregular. Whatever concerns you have could have been addressed privately. Like how I privately addressed declining customer satisfaction 6 months ago, Malcolm counters. You dismissed it then. You won't dismiss it now. He connects his phone to the presentation system. Photos fill the screen, seating charts with coded dots, training materials, disciplinary reports. This is what's happening at soul food diners. Customers are classified by appearance and perceived wealth. 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots. Malcolm advances through the evidence. Different seating, different service, different treatment, all based on how valuable you look when you walk in the door. The board members shift uncomfortably. Some look genuinely shocked. Others avoid eye contact. This isn't just poor service, Malcolm continues. It's a methodical system designed to prioritize certain customers at the expense of others. A system that explicitly contradicts everything soul food stands for. Fletcher steps forward, regaining composure. The board approved this strategy, Malcolm. The numbers speak for themselves. Yes, we prioritize high-value customers. That's just smart business. Is this smart business? Malcolm plays a compilation of video clips. Families being seated by kitchens and bathrooms, waiting endlessly for service while better-dressed patrons receive immediate attention. Is this what we stand for now? He displays the "Everyone Eats with Dignity" sign from his father's original food truck. Because it's not what my father built this company on. It's not what made us successful. Fletcher crosses his arms. Your father ran a food truck, Malcolm. Times change. We're a corporation now, answerable to shareholders and the bottom line. My father understood that dignity isn't a luxury item, Malcolm fires back. It's a basic human need. And he built a successful business proving you can treat everyone with equal respect and make a profit. He turns to address the entire room. What Fletcher implemented isn't innovation, it's regression. Back to the days when restaurants had separate entrances based on social class. When certain people weren't welcome in certain establishments, Fletcher scoffs. That's a dramatic oversimplification. We serve everyone differently, Malcolm cuts in, based on how valuable you think they are. That's not service, Fletcher. That's prejudice with a profit motive. A board member clears her throat. Malcolm, while these practices are concerning, the financial results are a mirage, Malcolm interrupts. You're seeing short-term gains at the cost of long-term loyalty. Already our regular customer base is eroding. Social media complaints have tripled. Staff turnover is at an all-time high. He displays the personnel files. We're actively punishing employees who try to maintain our founding values. Tamika Williams at location number 8 has 3 write-ups for treating 3-dot customers with the same respect as 1-dot customers. Fletcher steps closer, voice lowered. Malcolm, you've made your point. We can discuss modifications to the system, but this public ambush is exactly what's needed, Malcolm says firmly, because this ends today. He faces the board directly. As CEO and majority shareholder of Soul Food Diners, I am immediately terminating the Customer Value Optimization Protocol. Fletcher Davidson is suspended pending review of his actions. Fletcher's face flushes. You can't do that without board approval. Watch me. Malcolm's voice is steel. My father's name is on every restaurant, every menu, every uniform. His principles built this company. You've turned my father's vision of dignity for all into a system that judges human worth by appearance. You didn't optimize our business, you corrupted it. He turns to Gloria. Effective immediately, all locations will return to our original service standards. Every customer receives the same high-quality experience, regardless of appearance or perceived status. Fletcher laughs incredulously. And when revenue drops? When we can't sustain 30 locations on food truck ideology? Malcolm meets his gaze steadily. Then we'll have fewer locations that actually represent our values. But I don't believe that will happen. I believe treating people with dignity is both morally right and good business. He addresses the board one final time. You have a choice to make. Stand with the values that built soul food or stand with a system that betrays them. But understand this. As of this moment, the Customer Value Optimization Protocol is terminated. And anyone who continues to implement it will follow Fletcher out the door. The silence in the room is deafening. All staff meeting in 5 minutes. The announcement echoes through Soul Food's flagship location. Employees exchange nervous glances as they gather in the dining area before opening. Word of Fletcher's suspension has spread like wildfire through the company. Rumors swirl about major changes coming. Malcolm stands at the front beside Gloria and Darius. Behind them is a large covered object. The staff shuffle in, whispering among themselves. Tamika from location number 8 sits in the back, expression guarded. Thank you all for coming, Malcolm begins. Many of you don't know me personally. I'm Malcolm Reynolds, the CEO, someone whispers. Yes, the CEO. But more importantly, I'm Samuel Reynolds' son. Malcolm gestures to the photographs on the wall. The man who started Soul Food with a food truck and a simple principle. Everyone eats with dignity. He pauses, making eye contact with several staff members. Recently, that principle was compromised. A system was implemented that classified customers based on appearance and perceived value. Some of you were forced to participate in this system. Some of you resisted and faced consequences. Tamika shifts in her seat. Today, that system ends permanently. Malcolm pulls the cover off the object behind him, revealing his father's original hand-painted sign. Everyone eats with dignity. This isn't just a slogan. It's our foundation, our non-negotiable standard. And he holds up a seating chart with the dot system. These are being collected from every location and destroyed. Effective immediately, every customer receives our best service, regardless of appearance, dress, or any other superficial factor. A tentative ripple of approval moves through the staff. I know many of you have been uncomfortable with the classification system. Some of you implemented it because you were told your jobs depended on it. Others resisted and faced disciplinary action. Malcolm looks directly at Tamika. Those disciplinary records are being expunged today. No one will be punished for treating people with dignity. Relief washes over several faces. But changes in policy aren't enough. We need structural change to prevent this from happening again. Malcolm nods to Gloria, who distributes folders to key staff members. I'm announcing a new management structure for Soul Food diners. He gestures to the employees receiving folders. These team members consistently upheld our values even when pressured to abandon them. They're being promoted to form our new operations team. Their first task? Implementing a transparent service standard that applies equally to every customer. Tamika opens her folder with trembling hands, finding a promotion letter to Regional Service Director. The board has approved these changes, some enthusiastically, others reluctantly. But make no mistake, this is non-negotiable. Soul Food diners will treat every customer with equal dignity, or it won't bear my family's name. Malcolm walks to Tamika. Ms. Williams, I believe you received 3 write-ups for providing excessive service to 3-dot customers. In other words, for treating people equally. She nods cautiously. Would you do us the honor of removing the seating chart from the host's stand and replacing it with this? He hands her his father's sign. Tamika stands, takes the sign with reverence, and walks to the host station. The staff watches as she pulls down the coded seating chart, crumples it, and hangs the "Everyone Eats with Dignity" sign in its place. Spontaneous applause erupts. Over the next week, Malcolm personally visits every soul food location. The transformation is methodical and comprehensive. At each restaurant, the new service team removes the color-coded trays, replacing them with a single style for all customers. Training sessions focus on consistent quality service standards. The soul food experience is the same for everyone, from the corner booth to the counter stool, the new materials emphasize. Customer feedback kiosks are installed at every exit, results displayed publicly for all staff to see. Dignity ambassadors are appointed at each location, veteran employees tasked with upholding service standards and reporting any backsliding. 2 weeks after the confrontation, Malcolm meets with the newly formed leadership team in his father's original diner, now closed for the evening. Initial results? He asks, as they gather around a large table. Tamika, now heading customer experience, smiles. Complaints down 40% already. Overall satisfaction up 12% and climbing. Revenue impact? A board member inquires anxiously. Darius, promoted to operations director, consults his tablet. Down 4% at former high-performing locations, but up 22% at locations that had the most 3-dot customers. Net positive of 8% system-wide. The customers we were pushing away are coming back, Tamika adds, and they're bringing friends. Staff turnover? Malcolm asks. Almost 0 since the change, Gloria reports. Application rates for new positions have doubled. Turns out people want to work somewhere with clear ethical standards. Malcolm nods, satisfied. And the few executives who supported Fletcher's system? Resigned yesterday, Gloria confirms. Said they weren't aligned with the company's direction. Good. Malcolm stands, walking to the wall of photos. He hangs a new edition, a picture of the original food truck beside an image of all 30 current locations. We're not just restoring what was lost. We're building something stronger. He turns to face the team. From today, we return to our founding principle. Everyone eats with dignity. Our new management team represents the values we lost sight of, and they'll have the authority to maintain those values at every level. Tamika raises her glass of sweet tea. To Samuel Reynolds's vision. And to its future, Malcolm adds, joining the toast. 6 weeks after the system overhaul, the flagship soul food diner hums with renewed energy. The lunch rush moves smoothly, every table receiving the same attentive service regardless of location or customer appearance. In the kitchen, Malcolm works alongside the line cooks, sleeves rolled up, learning the rhythm of food preparation his father knew by heart. Not as a publicity stunt, but as a reconnection to soul food's roots. Mr. Reynolds, you're putting too much cayenne in that rub, Carlos, the head cook, calls out good-naturedly. My father's recipe calls for a generous pinch, Malcolm protests, holding up the worn recipe book. Your father's hands were twice the size of yours, Carlos laughs. His pinch was different. The kitchen staff chuckles. There's an ease now, a comfortable camaraderie that had been missing under Fletcher's regime. Malcolm wipes his hands and steps into the dining area. He watches Tamika training a new host, emphasizing the key points of the revised service approach. We don't judge, we don't categorize, we don't assume, she explains. Every guest gets our best first time, every time. The new host nods earnestly. What if we're short-staffed or super busy? Then everyone waits equally, Tamika replies. We rotate tables fairly. No preferential treatment based on appearance, ever. Malcolm smiles, continuing his circuit through the restaurant. At a corner table, he recognizes James Thompson dining with his family. The same family who had experienced the 3-dot treatment that helped spark this transformation. Mr. Thompson, Malcolm approaches the table. How's everything today? James looks up, breaking into a genuine smile. Night and day difference, Malcolm. Food's as good as ever, but the feeling in here, it's back to what your father created. James's mother, seated comfortably at a prime table away from the kitchen doors, nods in agreement. Samuel would be proud, young man. This feels like his place again. Highest compliment we could receive, ma'am. Malcolm bows slightly. Your meal today is on the house, as thanks for helping us find our way back. James shakes his head. We don't want special treatment, Malcolm. That's the whole point. It's not special treatment when it's offered with equal respect, Malcolm counters. We're thanking all our loyal customers who stuck with us through the rough patch. Check your receipt. There's a note for everyone today. Sure enough, each guest's check includes a personal note from Malcolm, thanking them for being part of the soul food community. Later that evening, after closing, the staff gathers for a family meal. A tradition Samuel Reynolds had started decades ago, but which had fallen away during the expansion. Cooks, servers, hosts, and dishwashers sit together at pushed-together tables. Malcolm joins them, not at the head, but in the middle. Plates of food pass family style. I almost quit twice, Tamika admits, serving herself collard greens. But I kept thinking about what this place meant to my community when it started. Now I feel like we're back to being that place again. A dishwasher who's been with the company for just 3 weeks raises his hand tentatively. I heard stories about how it used to be here. Didn't believe a chain restaurant could actually care about people equally. But my first day, when you all had me join the family meal instead of eating separately, I knew the stories were true. Malcolm looks around the table at the diverse faces of his team. My father understood something fundamental. Dignity isn't just good ethics, it's good business. When people feel respected, both customers and staff, they become your strongest advocates. He raises his glass. To everyone at this table who kept the real soul food alive, even when management lost its way. You're the heart of this company. The toast is met with genuine smiles and clinking glasses. In that moment, Malcolm knows with certainty the soul of soul food diners has returned. 3 months after the service revolution, Malcolm stands outside the newest soul food location, their 31st restaurant, opening in a diverse neighborhood that other chains had overlooked. The sign above the door proudly displays both the modern soul food logo and his father's original handwritten, "Everyone Eats with Dignity" slogan. Inside, the walls feature photographs documenting the company's journey from food truck to regional chain, including candid shots of staff and loyal customers from all walks of life. As the doors open for the first time, Malcolm watches the diverse crowd enter, construction workers still in their boots, office employees on lunch break, retirees, students, families of all backgrounds. Each receives the same warm welcome, the same attentive service. A business reporter approaches, notepad ready. Mr. Reynolds, industry analysts predicted your equal service model would hurt the bottom line. Instead, Soul Food has reported record growth this quarter. What's your secret? Malcolm smiles. No secret. My father had it right from the beginning. When you treat people with equal dignity, they reward you with loyalty. Our customers know they'll get the same respectful experience whether they're wearing work boots or wingtips. But other chains insist tiered service is more profitable. Success never justifies losing your values, Malcolm replies. In fact, our numbers show that when we returned to treating everyone with dignity, our business actually grew stronger. We discovered what was really valuable wasn't certain customers, it was our principles. He gestures to the diverse crowd enjoying their meals. Look around. When people from all walks of life feel equally welcome, your customer base expands rather than contracts. The math is simple. More welcome customers equals more business. The reporter makes notes. Any message for other business owners considering similar approaches? Malcolm considers the question. Leadership isn't just about profit margins. It's about creating spaces where human dignity is honored. Sometimes that means having the courage to reject industry best practices when they compromise your core values. He watches Tamika expertly managing the floor, ensuring every table receives equal attention. Every business faces moments of truth crossroads where you must choose between expedience and ethics. Those choices define not just your company, but your legacy. Malcolm straightens his father's gold watch on his wrist. If you've ever experienced or witnessed customer discrimination, share your story in the comments. Have you seen businesses turn around problematic practices? We're building a resource guide for business owners committed to equal treatment. Because dignity shouldn't be a premium service. It should be the standard. If you've witnessed leadership that prioritizes dignity over discrimination, share your story in the comments below. Your experiences matter, and they could inspire other businesses to make positive changes. Hit that like button if you believe everyone deserves equal respect, and subscribe to PAP Stories for more real-world examples of leaders who choose ethics over easy profit.